Hi guys, welcome to another video. If this is your first time here, my name is Steph. I make videos about my life, the things I do, the places I see. And last year I made a whole wedding series about the process of planning a wedding. Everything from picking invitations, picking a venue, writing a guest list, wedding dress shopping, shopping for our wedding bands, traveling to our wedding because it was a destination wedding, and then it being postponed. I'll link the playlist right here. Planning a wedding is so exciting, but it was definitely one of the most stressful times of my life. I'm happy, I'm grateful, we had a great wedding, but I want to share in this video the things that I learned from this process, the do, the don'ts, the things that you have to be aware of. So let's start. The first thing I want to mention in this video is that if you want something to happen the day of your wedding, for sure, like this must happen, make it clear. If you have a wedding planner or a wedding coordinator, just have that conversation, because you can't just assume that somebody is going to know what you want. For example, it was really important for me to take pictures with my grandma because she pretty much raised me, and I told the photographer like 100% I want pictures with my grandma, so he made sure that we had, you know, the time for that, the kind of music that you want the DJ to play, or stuff like that. Like if there's something that's important to you, make sure you communicate it. A few things that I forgot to communicate, or that would seem logical to you, but like if you don't talk about it, who's gonna assume the responsibility? For example, we had our little flower girl and she was so great, she was beautiful, she was the life of the party, but I kind of forgot to communicate to the wedding coordinator that we needed like the rose petals for her to throw. So she arrived with her basket and there's like no rose petals, and everybody's like, wait, who was in charge of that? If you don't put people in charge of specific things, things might get lost in the moment. But you know, those are little things. At the end of the day, you look back to it and you're like, it doesn't even matter. Like she just put the rings in her little basket and it was cute. That day is so hectic that there's gonna be things that you're gonna be like, wait a minute. My point is, if you want something to happen, communicate it, plan for it, put it in the itinerary, schedule a time for it. Like make sure that if it's important to you, everybody knows and there's somebody assigned for that task. The second thing I'm going to talk about is be intentional about your wedding registry. Do your research. We were not going to do a wedding registry like at all because we thought it's an international destination, but that's one of the biggest things that I wouldn't say regret, but that I would do differently. So if you're planning your wedding right now, I 100% recommend that you put a lot of thought into your registry and you do your research and you look for brands that are quality, so you're gonna get gifts that are gonna last a long time. And speaking of quality, I just received this package from Brooklinen and I am so excited to open this on camera, guys, because this is one of the things that I wish I would have included in our wedding registry. I'm gonna put it right here while I talk. So Brooklinen was founded on the philosophy that people deserve simple, good quality, comfortable home essentials without the luxury markup. And the way they do that is by cutting out the middleman. Doesn't that make sense? I honestly think that we made our registry so complicated for our guests because last minute I decided to create a small registry online with just a few items, but then we also had a website where people could donate money to us, and then we had the option of bringing cash to the wedding, which confused a lot of people. With this upcoming wedding season, I think that this is an amazing gift. I haven't opened it yet, but I've seen that they have over 100,000 5-star reviews, so they must be doing something right. And I've seen my favorite YouTubers open their bundles from Brooklinen, and honestly, I was getting FOMO. If you notice, a lot of bedding sets are around $500 if they're good quality, but when it comes to Brooklinen, you can have that quality at an affordable price because their bundles range anywhere from like $250 to $300 depending on your bed size, and I think that's a great deal. I think this packaging is so cute. It looks like I'm going on a trip to dreamland. I know that was corny, but I laugh at my own jokes, so. That is always so satisfying. Isn't this cool? Ooh. And it even comes with a little bag. How cute. This is so exciting. So what we just received here is a bundle. It's called the Brooklinen's Luxe hardcore sheet bundle, and you actually save 25% by getting it as a set. So you get the duvet cover, you get extra pillowcases, and you get the core sheet set, which I'm so excited for. I mean, look at that color. I went with a cream color because I want a room to look nice, cozy, and like warm, you know what I mean? But they have more than 20 colors and patterns to choose from. This is just my personal taste. I haven't even taken the plastic off, and I can already feel by the weight of this duvet cover that it's gonna be so comfy. All right, I got my little helper here, aka my husband, who's gonna help me put the sheets on the bed. First, let's put the sheets. Oh my god, I feel rich. Touch that.
Ooh, fancy. We believe in love at first sight. We prefer love at first wash.
Yeah, I actually heard this on YouTube. They said that, it says here, some believe in love at first sight. We prefer love at first wash. So every time you wash them, they actually get softer, which is amazing because a lot of sheets you wash them and then they feel like rough on your skin, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm not gonna wash them right now because I can't wait. But next time we wash them, I'll give you guys an update. Do you like the color I picked?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wow. Obviously these lines are gonna go away once we sleep in them. They're just a little wrinkly from the packaging, that's all, but these feel so good. So these are 480 thread count, and they're slightly luminous. I don't know if you can see. It has like a slightly luminous finish. It looks so nice and soft. Oh my god, can't wait to go to sleep. Okay, and now I have to finish this video from the bed because it's so nice. It's so funny because we only had 2 pillowcases that matched, so then we would put like another color pillowcase and it would look a little funky, but now everything matches, everything is nice, and it feels like we're in a luxury hotel, but by our wedding picture in the background, you know that it's our bedroom. It was really fun to go on Brooklinen's website because when you're choosing the items for your bundle, you can go ahead and check the 20+ colors and patterns that they offer, and you can also even mix and match. Brooklinen's website is super easy to use, and it also gives you an idea of how your bed is gonna look like. So go check out Brooklinen's website, and for my subscribers there is a $20 off promo code when you use the code StephLuna. I'm gonna insert it right here. You get $20 off your order of 100 or more. So go check that out. Have that luxury feeling every time you go to bed. The link for this bundle and for the rest of the products that Brooklinen offers is gonna be in my description. And again, thank you Brooklinen for sponsoring this video. Okay guys, my bed is so comfortable now that I'm just gonna continue the video from here. The next thing I learned about planning a wedding is that if you have the intention of having an outdoor wedding or even an outdoor ceremony, have a plan B. Because I knew that I wanted a ceremony outside. We picked this country club that I've been going to since I was a little girl. So what happened the day of the wedding is that when we were on the way, it started drizzling, and I was like internally like, okay, don't panic. Like the wedding coordinator that day, she was so nice, and she's like, it's gonna be okay, that's just a blessing, like blah blah blah. And I'm just like kind of freaking out a little bit inside. When I got there, the guests were like, I saw them from the car and they were like trying to find cover. Thank the Lord, the universe, whatever you believe in, it stopped raining just in time for the ceremony. So everybody went back to their seats. I walked down the aisle, we did the whole ceremony, and then the reception was in the same country club, but it was covered, but it was open on the sides. When we're in the reception that we have our first dance and everything, like a few minutes later, it's like a storm, and it was so windy. I will include a clip right here. It was insane. It only lasted like 2 or 3 minutes, but it felt like a tornado, like a hurricane, like I don't know what. And everybody was like, Stephanie and Nong, you guys are so blessed, like you guys are protected by the universe or something, because if that would have happened during the ceremony, it would have been a disaster. I'm just saying that if you're gonna have a wedding outside, have a plan B. Either having a tent on hold, I know that that can be expensive, or like checking the weather that whole week, and if it's gonna rain that day, or if there's any indication that it's going to rain, like maybe move it inside or something, but have a plan B. That's all I'm saying. Okay, this one might be a personal opinion, but I'm including it because we went through it. So I mentioned this before, but if you're new here, we had to postpone our wedding because we got COVID 3 days before the wedding. So that was very hectic. I'm gonna include that video here if you want to go watch that. Something that I noticed is that I shouldn't have put the date of the wedding on the favors. I put the date on so many things. I put it on the favors, on the guest book, on some like little hand sanitizer bottles, that a lot of things that were personalized. If I can give you any advice, is don't put the wedding date on personalized things. Just put your names or your hashtag or whatever you want to put, but putting the name on it meant that then I had to like frantically go on Etsy, contact the sellers and be like, hey, can you please like ship this to me right away? I was in a different country, so they had to ship it to my friend who was my maid of honor. Then the guest book, it was already too late to like have it done again, and it was also expensive. So we had boxes for the cake, and those took like a month to be made, so we didn't have the time to do those again. So the favors had the correct date, like the new date, and then the cake boxes and the guest book didn't, and it was whatever. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal, but you can learn from me. Don't put your wedding date on things, because you never know what can happen, and you might need to change the date of your wedding, and then you're stuck with all these personalized items. Okay, this one is maybe not like a fun one, but this is very important. Ask for contracts for everything. Like when you're talking to vendors, if your DJ is saying like, oh yeah, no problem, just pay 50% here, have it in writing. If your photographer is like, oh okay, yeah, you're booked for this day, I'm gonna give you the pictures in 60 days or whatever, have it in writing. Because there's a lot of money that goes into wedding. It doesn't matter if it's a big wedding or a small wedding, that's your money. You want to protect it. In each contract there was a clause where it's like, you know, if it's like a health reason or something like that, we can always move the date, not cancel the event. There's like little things that could happen, or big things in our case, and you never want to lose that money, or you want to make sure that your vendor legally has to complete that contract. Another thing that I learned is 100%, obviously if you can afford it, have a day of coordinator. This was for sure the vendor that I justify in my head of like, this money was 100% worth it. I didn't have like a wedding planner that did everything for me throughout the whole process. I had a lady that was in charge of decoration, flowers, all the rentals and all of that, and then I had a team for the day of the wedding. They were amazing. So we had a rehearsal 2 days before the wedding where we talked about everything. I had video calls with them. They had like a team of like 6 or 7 or 8 people, I don't even know, the day of the wedding. During that time that it rained like crazy, the venue got a little wet, like the floor got wet because it was open on the sides. And they immediately like moved tables, dried everything, made sure that like people knew where to go. There was a lady from the team that was in the room with us, like with all my bridesmaids and the makeup artist and the photographer, and like she was making sure that we were on time if we needed anything. If you are going to spend money on something, have a day of coordinator, because the day of your wedding, you don't want to be thinking about all these things. You're not going to be in that mindset. It is so extremely overwhelming. Like you're so stimulated that day because you're seeing like your friends and your family, and you're emotional because you're, you know, saying I do to the love of your life, and it's a lot. So you're not gonna be thinking like, oh, is the buffet starting now? Oh, is the photographer getting the shot? Like you're not gonna be thinking of all those things. So having somebody, or in this case a team, to coordinate everything was money well spent. Something else that I think is important is to have a wedding website. In our case, we used Minted and we were really happy with it. There we added our engagement pictures, but there was also information, directions to the venue. Oh, the most important part, RSVP. The link was on the invitation, so people will go, but if they wouldn't go on their own, I would like send the link to them so they can just RSVP on the website. And then you have this list of everybody that has RSVP, yes or no, and that made it so much easier. Like there was no way that I was gonna call people one by one, or like even because it was a destination wedding and some people lived in another country, they were not gonna mail me, you know, their RSVP. So having the website just made it so much easier. And speaking of the invitation, I think it's very important to include the dress code in the invitation, because that was a mistake I made. I guess I just used like the template from one of the websites and it didn't have like the dress code on it. So every single guest was contacting me asking me, hey, what's the dress code? Hey, what's the dress code? And when you're planning a wedding, you know that it's not like you don't want to talk to people, but you're very busy. So having to answer people one by one was a little hectic. So just don't forget to add that on your invitation, unless you don't care what people wear. Okay, I'm almost wrapping up this video because I don't want it to be too long, but in a few words, make a packing list. If you're getting ready at a hotel or Airbnb or whatever, make a list of the things that you need. I did this and I even included in one of my videos. I laid everything on my bed and I was like, okay, I have this, I have that, like stuff that you're not even thinking about, like my wedding night underwear that you're gonna need, you know, or wedding day underwear, or like undergarments. Don't sweat the little things. You might forget something, like I forgot to wear my garter on the day of my wedding. It's fine. At the end of the day, if I can end this video with something, is enjoy the day, or try to enjoy it, because I know everybody says this, but it goes so fast. I remember I kept asking Nong, like, what time is it? What time is it? And a wedding is usually like 8 hours, because that's the time that you're paying for vendors. So those 8 hours just fly. So make sure you enjoy it. I love to look back at the memories. We had a great time. It was a dream come true. And I hope that if you're in that process, you have an amazing experience. Don't sweat the small stuff. Remember what that day is all about. Anyways guys, I am sure there's like a million other things that I could talk about planning a wedding. This is what I'm sharing for now. If I remember more stuff, I can make a part 2 of this video. Let me know in the comments if you plan your own wedding, if you're planning your own wedding right now. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I always say this, but every time somebody subscribes to my channel, I get so happy because we're growing. And also when you click the like button, you're telling YouTube that you enjoyed this video, and the algorithm shares it with other people. I use my hands to talk a lot, and I'm realizing that when I'm looking at the viewfinder, but you know, we all have our quirks. Anyways guys, thank you for watching. Thank you again Brooklinen for sponsoring this video, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.